Hello, my name's Andrew Shaben. I'm a lecturer here at the University of Kurdistan, and I'm here to talk about and answer some questions about the upcoming American elections, particularly looking at the presidential election between the current president, Donald Trump, and the challenger, Joe Biden, from the Democratic Party. When we talk about elections,
Okay. Go on.
When we talk about elections, this election is particularly unique. It's exceptional because, of course, we're in the time of coronavirus. And because of this, and there's also another factor happening at the same time. It's what we call the political divide in America between the two political parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And never, well, in one other instance, have the two parties been so divided along political lines. They just cannot get together and negotiate a process that's necessary in a democratic republic. And it hasn't been this bad since the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860. That tells you how bad it is. And most of the political pundits say, in all my life, I've never seen it this bad. American people, the two political parties, they hate each other. And so, as we come upon this election, it is this coronavirus that makes a bad situation even worse. And the particular issue with coronavirus is it's going to stop people from going to the ballot box. Now, in America, you have three choices. Well, usually it's two, but because of coronavirus, you're going to have three. The first one is you go into your polling station and you vote in person. You mark the little boxes. Absentee voting is when you're a registered voter, but you can't come in, and then they send you the application, you fill it out, and you send it in. And then there's the mail-in ballot, which anybody just puts their name on it, selects their candidates for not just president, but for other members of the government, and they send it in. And because of coronavirus, there's going to be many more people who are doing absentee ballots and mail-in ballots. And this is going to slow up the process. And in the Constitution of the United States, it's very particular, the timing. So we all know the elections are going to happen November 3rd. Sometime in January, the House of Representatives, the Congress, have to meet and kind of certify these results, and they will declare a winner. Now, if there are some type of legal challenges because of the mail-in voting, ballots coming in late, if there's legal challenges by either political party, it will slow down the process. And therefore, they cannot establish, the states are unable to award their electoral votes to either candidate. Then we have a problem, and that's called the constitutional crisis. So if they can't stick to the schedule that's laid out in the Constitution, then it becomes a big problem, because then it becomes a legal issue. Where it may involve the courts of the high courts of every state, and maybe even perhaps the Supreme Court. So with all that being said, it's a very difficult time. Either party, because you know the way the American electorate is divided today, it's almost 50-50. And it's very close, and a lot of things are going on because of the coronavirus, and it's almost impossible for people to predict the outcome. People don't trust the polls, the polling. The companies and the news organizations that are doing the polling, they have great difficulty trying to figure out who's going to be the winner or loser. And so there are some other issues that kind of go along with this, and these are the political issues, scandals per se, of each candidate. Now, Donald Trump was just recently impeached, attempted impeachment by the Democrat-controlled Congress over issues dealing with Ukraine. and the awarding of money in military contracts, using it as leverage. Now, just recently in the last week, we found, well, we didn't find it, our October surprise. The October surprise popped up. And the October surprise, this election cycle, it appears to be, there might be more, but it appears to be there's some type of political scandal within the Joe Biden campaign dealing with his son. And what they're doing, it's the issue is, was his son receiving money from various governments, including Iraq, the Ukraine, China, and it's called influence peddling. That's the political name of what that particular form of mild corruption is. Now, a stash of emails have turned up, and it kind of really looks like there is good evidence that Joe Biden and his son were involved in this type of political activity, getting money and using your political influence to receive money to a family member. Now, how this will affect the elections, we don't know. Are there more surprises down the line? Because the people who have brought forward this evidence, particularly a gentleman named Steve Bannon, who used to be an advisor to Trump, and Rudy Giuliani, who used to be the mayor of New York, they are bringing this information forward, hoping that it might change the results of the election. Similar to what happened in 2016 when Hillary Clinton's email scandal popped up in the last week before the elections. And that goes back to something, Benghazi, and the government emails just disappeared. She was being investigated. So there's a lot going on. This is not a normal election. And if you ask me predictions, nobody knows. Now, I myself, I think Trump is going to win in a landslide in the Electoral College. I think the election will lay down just like it laid down when it was Hillary Clinton versus Trump in 2016. That the Democratic candidate, Joe Biden, will receive the popular vote. But in America, just because the majority of people vote for a particular candidate doesn't mean you necessarily win. It's regional representation, and it's what we call in America the Electoral College. So a lot of people on both sides in America, the Democrats and Republicans, the political pundits, nobody is saying, my guy's going to win 100%. Nobody's sure. And because the circumstances are so different this time.
Okay, that's why it's called democracy.
We're good? It's going to work.